So I think the microphone is on. I'm just checking the microphone. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Um, the microphone. So welcome to this gathering. Welcome to this gathering to seek truth. I am primal light, prepared for this dream duality existence. Shattered fractal self, wearing this avatar as Auset Mahat. Um, Today I want to talk about false self. Here are some of the questions that I and I need to be looking into. What are human beings? What are humankinds? What is ego false self? Gonna take a look at the real versus the dream. Gonna take a look at the question, who am I? This is the question that I and I want to be asking. It is important to ask this question. It's the most important question that I can ask. Why? Because the I is identifying as all kinds of things which you are not. This is the problem with human beings and humankind. You think that you are this human being, right? Yes, someone's in here, right? They are just human beings. But for the real selves, and even the human beings and humankinds, that the dream characters, they're not real. They're just an imagination, creation. All right, so we're going to take a look at this ego false self versus the real self. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. No more secrets, no more lies. All things hidden will be made known. All things done in secret will be revealed. All things created must be destroyed. All things created must be destroyed. Let me just emphasize on that, because all these dream characters are attached to all their dream things, and all creations will be destroyed. This is the age of truth. It's time for self-responsible authority. It is time for self-sufficiency, says the I self, supreme one true self. I want to give reverence and honor to the I self, the I non-being self, because we're always trying to think that we can classify the I self as a being. The I self is not a being. It's not, the I self is not even manifested, it's unmanifest. So you can have no perception of yourself in this state, in the illusionary false state, right? The I is encountering all the duality beings, which are also false self, dream characters, and thinking that they are real. They have been programming the I into the dream. All these dream characters, they are the master construct of the dream. because at each level of the dream that you go into, when you say you're going into the spiritual realms, you're going to explore these aspects of the dream. And all of these characters who are constructing these levels of the different levels of the dream, they are tricking you and entrancing you into their. And so this is the problem. Hail to the I, one true pure self, none being unmanifest, that which has no name, formless, boundless, that cannot be named. And this mind, this consciousness, is always trying to name things. The I self is formless, timeless, limitless, boundless, nameless. The I one true state. None being. The I is not even a being. Hail to the I, the primal light self. Hail to I, the one true light, the transparent light. Hail to the I, the light throughout the ages, the light without beginning nor end. Hail to the I, one true self. I am that no name. I am that can't be explained. All is myself, and I alone exist. I am calling for liberation from all bullying and tyranny. I'm calling for liberation from all slavery. I'm calling for liberation from all mind control and mind slavery. I'm calling for liberation from false imprisonment. I'm calling for liberation from all sleeping and dreaming state. As I have commanded, so let it be. So it is. I am in command. I am in command of the command. And as I have commanded, so let it be. This is my commandment. I dissolve this dream. I dissolve all selves are free. Victory, victory. I am free from my imaginary bondage. I return to my ultimate true state. Victory, victory. I bow to I and I in self, in light, and in truth. Much honor. Who am I? That is the first question that I want to ask, because this topic is about the false self. The I and I is in a false self, and everyone is thinking that this is their real self. You're in a false self. You're in a false self, an ego false self created by your mind, created by the supreme constructor of this dream, the consciousness. Yeah? So ask this question. Please ask, so that the I that is the real can answer the I, because that which you are right now is in this false self. And you don't know yourself. This is why you don't know yourself and you are confused, because of the consciousness, the mind. The I and I is in self ignorance. What is God? The I and I is confusing the I, the real, with the dream characters. Remember, the I, the real, is formless, timeless, limitless, boundless, has no name, that can't be explained. Right? So obviously, that cannot be God. What is God? Is God the ego false self? Is this world a dream? Who is sleeping? Who is dreaming? Do you know who you are? These are some questions that the I and I need to engage in. Write these questions down. It is time for the I and I to stop being a fear. No fear. It is time to be fearless. It is time now to look at these questions and stop thinking that your ideologies and your dogmas and your false perception is true. And when someone who is awake is saying to you that, hey, take a look at these questions and interrogate everything, you're inside of an illusionary creation. You see how the world is. Nothing can be trusted. You cannot trust any character that comes to you and say it is God. You know how many gods there are. You cannot trust any character that come to you as God. Why the I has never encountered the I self called the soul? Because you never seek. It is yourself you never seek. What you have been doing is imprisoning it to God. So you don't know your truth. So when the I who is awake is saying to the I who is sleeping, ask these questions. What do you all turn against the I, because the I is saying, why can't you interrogate? Why can't you interrogate God and ask God and question God and question the existence of what is God? Because obviously God is not pure, God is not truth, because everyone calling on God into wrong things. So God cannot be truth and balance. And God make you accept this evil and do this evil, and you don't, and you're not in alignment with your one trueness, your pureness of that which you are. You're in this false self. So I am asking, do you know who you are? How do the I see things as they are? This character that you are playing in this life movie, is it you? I am asking. This character that you are playing, this human being, is it you? You think that you are this human being? Is this body you? Is this mind you? Please allow me to share with I and I the way things are versus the false perceptions of this dream. Many of you, I now I notice some ones they're coming more and more into that realization, because I have also sent many ones um videos, on emails on the true nature of the world. And so many of them now they are thinking about these questions that I pose to them. And so now I see more ones now are talking about the world is a simulation. I don't really understand the word assimilation, what it means, but I know for certain this world is a dream. The I and I is sleeping and dreaming it up, just like how you go to sleep and you're dreaming something. This is what's happening. The I, you go to dream, you lose awareness of yourself. This is so I am feeling hopeful that ones are now questioning, and now more and more ones are saying they're using the term assimilation. But at least they are coming more and more into that we are encased inside of a dream, in this encasement, into this dome. And all of the INIs is in self-ignorance. And it's like they don't want to get out of this self-ignorance. They are so resistant to the truth. Even all the ones who claim this spirituality, they are still into all of these characters, into these gods. And I say all of these, they are false. They are false selves. They are false selves. Get out of these false selves and seek truth. So it's still gonna take some time for these ones to get to this way of asking questions and thinking beyond these false characters called the gods, because they are impure characters, and they are full of ignorance because they have no self-awareness. Gods have no self-awareness. All they have is mind. They are magnetic beings. They are protons. Yeah? They have no self-awareness. They have no light. Their light is being obscure behind them. They are not connecting with their feminine self, and so they fight against their feminine self. They are the one who instigate war against the female and oppression of the female, and so the female must not rise up because they want to dominate. Men get their ignorance from these gods, because they follow the gods into their ignorance, and they feel so special when one of the gods them choose them to do all their evil bidding. Self ignorance. Get out of your self ignorance, please. False self identity. Do you know who you are? You must self inquire to know. How are you going to know if you don't ask the real, right? As a part of this life movie, there is the one who is the screen, the self, the I self, the real is the screen on which the movie is being played. This movie, that's it. This is why the scientists, they can look in their scopes and they can see the screen of all the aspect of the movies, because the I self is the screen. The I self, the real, is the screen on which the movie, the dream, is being taken place on, right? But I and I are not asking the real. The I and I is stuck into gods because what? They have spread propagandas and lies and go into your body and take over your mind and hijack your body. And and because the consciousness rules the world, because the consciousness is the moon that is tied into the world, and it is the one that rules the world. But now the I Self Supreme is taking over the world and is moving the consciousness into balance and moving the moon, because the light is going to be restored back to the moon, because the moon is not self-sufficient. Every aspect of the I self must be self-sufficient. Every aspect of the self must have their own light. The moon does not have its own light. That's why it has to reflect the light from itself, its real self. The moon is the mind, the consciousness of the self Ra, right? And so what's happening is that this is the sleeping state. The moon is in the sleeping, dreaming state and rules the world. And it's confusing everyone. Everyone is in false self identity. Because as you see, many ones identify with the moon. There are some who identify with the sun, which is Ra. But when Ra, the consciousness take over her, because remember, Ra is the self, the sun, and her mind is the moon. When she goes to sleep, the moon obscure her light, and this is when we see the moon, the full moon, because the moon obscures her and takes and she, this is when she goes to sleep. And this is when, that's why when full moon night, you see they go and they do a whole lot of crazy stuff, because this is when Ra goes to sleep and she has no awareness of herself. She's in a false self. I know everyone, she do bad things because her mind takes over her, and now the consciousness become real powerful. And this is why some um they worship the sun, some worship the moon, but when Ra is awake. But when she is asleep, she is she is the moon. So it's a crazy thing, because when she is awake, her mind, there's void between her and her mind, and she she's battling with her mind, and her mind always wants to put her into sleep, and so all the time she has to be fighting with her mind so it doesn't put her into sleep, because the consciousness, including all the gods, this is why they can quickly come into your body and put you in a trance. They do it to me all the time. They'll just come and snap the consciousness, and then my head will just fall like this, in the space of no time. They will just do this, so I have to fight, fight, fight. So I know what she's going through. You have to be alert all the time, up all the night. All in the night, I am up busy doing something, so that the consciousness, they don't, and the gods, then they don't drag me into a sleep, so I can stay awake. So I know what she's going through when her mind is always fighting with her to put her into a sleep so it can do crazy stuff. Because when she's awake, she has awareness of herself, so she cannot do. So it's the same thing with all of these ones. You're in ignorance of yourself because your mind has taken over you, and you are being completely obscure. You're in a false self, and you think that this false self is you. So I experienced all of these things. So this is why I know this. I know this from all the selves, all of the gods them come into this body. I know how they behave, I know what they do, and I learn about the I self that are the existence, how they dream, how they doing certain things. So the I is in ignorance of the I self, because why? This mind, this consciousness is in trance, and the I in asleep and created this fake self, and you're thinking that it is you. So you need to ask these questions. Who am I? It's going to get you the real self that is sleeping to wake up. How do I identify? You need to analyze this, because as you see in this culture, they are spreading these falseness. Even in the schools, they have no problem teaching the children that boys can be girls and girls can be boys, and homosexuality. But if you should go into the school and trying to teach them how to balance their mind and teach them real things, they don't want it, because I have that problem going into the school trying to teach the children that not to do everything that their mind tells them to do, and how to practice awareness and stillness so that their mind can be purified. They don't want this. They want children who they can program to, because they want to spread this ignorance agenda on everyone to be homosexuals. And this is the problem, because why are they spreading this homosexual agenda? Because all of the gods them are homosexuals, and all of those ones, they're calling on these characters, these gods. Why are the gods them homosexual? Because they are not in alignment with their feminine self. They're not in alignment with their feminine self, and all they do is homosexual act. Some Sometimes when they come into this body and they have that messed up mind, if I ever look into my if I ever just close my eyes and look, all they show me is imagery of homosexuality, and they always trying to rape you and do these things. This is what they do. And so this is what, when they are calling on these, because everybody want power, when they are calling on all of these entities, these beings, this is what they have to do. And so they are spreading their agenda. This is ignorance And so, but they have no problem with bringing these things into schools. But when you dare go try to teach the children some real knowledge, they don't want it. So I'm calling for ignorance to end. I'm calling for dissolution of this school system. Yeah, I'm calling for dissolution of this school system, because it is a hatred on the self for them to be having children, these great beings wearing these little bodies, and training them, and not teaching them how to be honorable human beings. All they putting is this false agenda on them. Yeah, you go in there, they say, oh, like I cannot say the mind is impure. All these words they're telling me, oh, I cannot say this, oh, I cannot say. I said, what do you mean I cannot say that? The children knows that the mind is impure, telling them bad things. Why can't I say that? So this is the problem. um I'm telling you, the struggle is real. These egos with their agenda, I'm calling for dissolution for all these ego false selves who are spreading propagandas and lies and programming the minds of all the ionized into these false, ignorant things. In this time and age, they are still doing this foolishness. So I'm saying it is time for the I know to self inquire, to come to truth, and to ask these questions. And I am asking you, how did you identify? It's time to stop identifying as all these things, because they are pushing agenda for young kids can make decisions to do surgery, to do sex change. But yet still the parents have to sign this and do this for children, to for any other thing but for do sex exchange, and they pushing their agenda, their false and ignorant stuff on to want to confuse many. This is what they want to confuse. Because I went to one school, and let me tell you, one of the class was like 28 children coming to the class. I said, what? How you gonna send somebody 28 teenagers junior high school? And all of the boys, the I couldn't. I had to be like a soldier. They're sitting on each other's lap, hugging up on each other. Every minute I have to tell them to get off of each other's lap. I said, what is this foolishness in the school? And so, for having 28 children, and mostly the boys, they were doing this. This is the agenda that they are spreading, and getting the children them very confused, and even more in this false identity and this ignorance of themselves. And they have no problem with these things. But when you going to share with them, for self inquiry, and to still their mind, they're having a problem with it. Yeah, but I'm calling for a dissolution, because this school system is getting ready to be dissolved. Yeah, because this ignorance cannot continue. So all of this stuff will getting to be dissolved. It's only a matter of time, because I've been going around and seeing what they're doing in the schools. All of those witches, they and in the school, that's where they are spreading their ignorance. Go into the school, they are harnessing the children them energy. So as soon when I walk in there, I already can identify what's going on. And those ones, right away, they don't like me. They don't want me there. So this is the problem with this ignorance. How do the I dissolve the I ego false self? admit that you suffer from self ignorance and you do not know the I self. You must admit that you do not know. Stop pretending like you know. Like they even programming a lot of the children into this Jesus thing. And I say to them, I said, have you experienced that for yourself? So does not mean because your someone tell you and is your family tell you to believe this. You should question still. So what I am telling you is that I want you to ask, who am I? What am I made of? How did I come into being? I want you to ask, to tell about Jesus. I want you to ask, know that the I self has no name, has no form, limitless, timeless, formless, is not even a being. So all of these dream characters, these false self, impersonating the real self, and has been spreading propagandas and lies and beholding the eye in ignorance. I want you to lose all attachment to these characters, these ego false self. I want I and I to admit that you do not know. So stop pretending like you know. Stop quoting scriptures and quoting what someone else say. And I want you to ask, seek for yourself the real, not the false. You are inside of a dream. Nothing, you already see that you can't trust these human beings because you see how deceiving everyone can be, even the ones them in your family. You already experienced this. So why do you think that you're gonna trust some character who shows up to you and tell you that he's God or he's Jesus? Are you gonna trust those characters? No, you gotta ask yourself the real. Seek for the real. Seek for yourself that has no name, that cannot be explained, formless, timeless, limitless, boundless. The one true light. All of these all of these characters, ask them if they are self-luminous. No, they are not self-luminous. They are not self-sufficient because they need something. They need something from you and they have to depend on something else. They don't have their own light. So they cannot be reliable source. Did you ask yourself, call a soul that knows? Ask the real. How will you know if you don't ask? You must ask. Get out of your self ignorance. Where did it all begin? The hierarchy, the superiority. Where did it all begin? Being a slave and a servant to God. It's time for you to stop putting yourself in slavery and watch the words that you are using. Stop talking about you are a servant and a slave to God. Stop it. Watch what you are saying and seek to know who you are and claim your true identity. I am formless, timeless, limitless, boundless. I am that has no name. I am that can't be explained. I am the unmanifest non being. Who are the ancestors and what did I learn about myself? I want you to inquire and then write the answers to these questions. What did you learn about yourself after this self inquiry of asking these questions? Get out of your ignorance, please. It is time. Who am I? Do you know who you are? I am that I am, for that which I seek, I am already that. What is the disguise that obscures me so that I do not know myself? You do not know yourself. You are confused. This is why we are in the predicament that we are in. Because we do not know, and you don't want to admit that you don't know. You want to quote some scriptures, quote something that someone else wrote, but you don't want to ask your real self. that has no name, that can't be explained, timeless, limitless, formless, boundless, the light without beginning nor end. Why do you not know who you are? Why are we suffering from self ignorance and confusion? I want you to know that as a result of this duality, this sleeping, dreaming state, one is only seeing through the lens of false perception, which is seeing through the eyes of the ego, the false self. You're in this ego false self. This is the false perception. This is not the real, the dream perspective. The eye is not seeing through the lens of the I self, the real. It is time to see through the lens of the real, the I real self, called a soul, not this consciousness, the mind, the false self. The consciousness is only a mind, but what it is thinking that it is a self and is confusing everyone. When this mind takes over you, it says it is the real self. And this is the confusion. This it makes a character and it becomes the false self. Where's the real self? The real self is being impersonated by the false self and is being entranced in the dream. It is time to return to truth. Know that everything around you is a dream, including all the characters. So better lose attachment to all these dream characters. And it's time to inquire and seek your truth from yourself that is the real, timeless, formless, limitless, boundless, that has no name, that can't be explained. It is time now to do this. To whom do the I direct the I question? When you are asking, who are you asking? Ask the I one true self, that which has no name, that can't this you have to be specific in where you're directing your question, because many ones, they're asking God, they're asking Jesus, they're asking Allah, they're asking Krishna, they're asking all of these false self, these dream characters. This is the reason why they can never solve the problem and their mind is confusing them, because you're asking the false selves, the ego false self, the dream characters. You're not asking the real. You want to ask the real, you go to the limitless, timeless, boundless self that is not bound. All of these self is bound into the character that they are playing. The I self, the real, has no name, has no form, limitless, unmanifest, and it's not a being. Right? Why is this mind impure? How did things get to be this way? From where does evil arise? These are very important questions that I must ask. Please return to this video. Write these questions down in your own handwriting. It is very important to write things with your own handwriting, right? Write them and ask, because this is how you are going to bring awareness to yourself that is sleeping to wake up. It is through the questioning. It is through the questioning that the I and the mind will seek itself, because the mind is thinking that it is the self. You didn't know this? The mind is thinking that it is the self. It is the real self. Why? Because it has obscured the real self and has been playing this role for such a long time. This is for eons. Each eons, the mind has been going and coming into each aspect of the world that is being created. When the self destroyed the world and recreated, the mind comes back again because it's not pulled off. This is the opportunity right now we are getting when the mind is going to be completely pulled off the self, and the self will be liberated from this consciousness device. This has never happened since the self put this device to, to be a participant into this dream illusionary creation, this imagination creation, because the mind had trapped the self, created the false self, and impersonate the real self. This is why we've been having so much confusion. So please, these questions are so important. Don't be afraid. No fear. This is the time for no fear. This time to stand up to this ego and dissolve your ignorance and dissolve your fears and dissolve your false self. True wisdom comes from choosing the I self, called a soul. I am that I am, not God. As you can see, all those ones who have choose God and they're calling on God, look at all the things that they have doing in the world. Their mind is very confused, right? They secretly start doing a lot of evil things because God is false, is a dream character that has no light, have no self-awareness, and is in a duality state. God is not balanced. God is not self-sufficient. God needs things that God don't have. Being obscure by its mind, and God being the light is being obscured behind the self that is creating the false self called God. So I want I and I to be on the quest for the I real self knowledge. Because everything that you have been taught is a lie. Even though I see many ones on YouTube and they're debating about all of these characters, they still loop into these characters. It's time now to be asking the right questions. Who am I? They're into, oh, they're going to Mars, they're gonna colonize this, and no one is asking who am I? Oh, we have to save, because they know this world is going to be destroyed. So they're thinking that, oh, the earth is gonna be destroyed, we are gonna go to colonize Mars. This is the reason why they are pushing the Mars agenda, because they're thinking that when the earth is destroyed, they know, because they're building their bunkers under the earth, they know they're not gonna be safe, so they want to colonize Mars so that they can go there. But that will never happen, because Mars now is aligning with the I self, and the light is being restored. So slowly and slowly, all of these what you call planets will be illuminating, because they are those dream characters, and they are going to wake up. They have been sleeping, and they are going to wake up, and they're going to start illuminating. So they're going to start changing. So you cannot leave from where you are, from this earth, and go to Mars. It is not happening. It will never happen. So it's time to turn your inquiry and your search inward to find the existence of yourself, because your mind is confusing you. And they all think they are so smart. They think that everyone else, oh, this guy, he's so smart, he can send rocket here. You are so ignorant. You're doing all of this, but yeah, here you are. All you have to do is just go right here and seek the truth for yourself. You are seeking everything outside of yourself and calling on all of these things because you think that you are a human being. So you're trying to save this human being. You cannot save this human being. This is a false self. So this is the ignorance. Human beings, you are false. You are a false self. You're a dream character. You are not real. Okay? You exist in a dream, and you can only stay in a dream, human beings. You can only stay in this dream. You cannot get out of this dream. You will be dissolved here, human beings, humankind. You will be dissolved here in this dream. Only the real self that is animating the human being will exit out of the dream, because the I is formless, timeless, limitless, boundless. The I just made a, like a, you, like how they're making robots now and they're having these robots doing things. This is the this is the human creating their own avatar, right? So this and this the self, because the self has light, who created the body. Take a look at the gods them of the body that they create. If the gods them are creating a body for themselves, you see how their body look distorted. And don't and why? Because they have no light, and they need light to make their a body balance. Who's creating these bodies? The I self. The balanced self can create the body like what we have, because the I self is a balanced self with lights. This is why the gods then cannot create a body on their own. What they have to do, they use human beings and they engraft them and clone them. So they take the human beings, they mix their seeds with them, and they do all kind of foolishness happen. Yeah, they have to use the beings already that the self creates. So God is an imposter and a liar, spreading propagandas and making people believe all of this nonsense. Beyond the quest for the I real self knowledge, the quest for God only leads to self ignorance and a crazy evil dream world. Knowledge of God has only created bias, war, and evil. Seek all self knowledge from the I self, call the soul, because only the I self soul knows. God is a trickster and a liar. If you have not come to this realization yet, as your mind is being confused, and you want, because someone's, no matter how they have an abusive relationship, it's like you can watch them, with like, a woman and a man having a relationship, very abusive, and they will still go, oh, but I love him. Oh, but I love him. That's how they love God. Oh, but I love God. Oh, Jesus is my man. Oh, yeah, because they sodomizing you and allowing you to do, because, oh, they say, oh, I give you powers. You do all of this, you get all of these things for me, get all of these ones to come here so I can get their souls. You do the gathering and get them, and I give you power. But they are losing their power right now. So I say, seek the real and not the dream. Seek the I real true self, so that I can know truth. In this life movie, all the characters are only a figment of the I imagination, because many ones are thinking that these human beings are not real human beings. They thinking that they are real. So I'm just gonna tell you plain and straight, human beings, you are not real. Okay? Human beings are characters in a dream. You are false self. Stop holding to your false self. I am talking to the real self that is animating this human being. You are not this human being. All those real selves animating this human being and thinking that they are this human being. I am talking to you. You are not this human being. Human being is a false self. Stop being trapped inside of a dream. It is time to get out of the dream, to dissolve the dream, and be yourself again. So they are want to spread these propagandas, you know, they, because they want to just continue to trick these human beings into fear. No, you're not these human beings. This is addressing to the real selves who do not know, they are confused. Stop holding to this human being. False self. All of these false self. Jesus is a false self. Allah, Krishna make all of these. Does God, Jesus, Allah, Krishna make humans good? All I can say is be wise. You see all over the world, all of Allah followers, all they do is make war, oppress women. They're not good. Jesus followers, Krishna followers, all of them are whatever gods. There's many of them, but these are some of the popular ones. As you can see, based on the evidence that we have seen, all of these deities, these gods, they did not make their followers good. Many are doing all kinds of atrocities in the name of their gods. Open your eyes and see that goodness is a nature of the I, the real self, called a soul. Many beings like God, who is the ego, false self, created, do not have a self. So they have no self balance. Therefore, their minds will always influence them to do evil, demented things. So it's time for the I to get out of this false self. You are not this human being. Repeat after me. I am not this human being. I am not this body. I am not this body. I am not this mind. Are you this body? I am asking. Are you this mind? You have seen many human beings, right? They come and they go. Seriously, are you this human being? The mind of the beings are delusional and they just holding to these characters, these false self. One person say, "Oh, is human beings enslaved, entrapped in assimilation?" Because someone's are coming aware now that this world is a dream. So I say no. Human beings are characters in a dream. They're not trapped here. They rise here. They belong here. They can only exist here. The self that animates the human being is the one that is trapped here in the dream and must come awake to exit the dream. The self is trapped, but you have never seen yourself because yourself is formless, timeless, limitless, boundless. And here it is trapped inside. It is formless, timeless, limitless, boundless, but here it is trapped inside of this body. How is that possible? Trapped inside of this dome for eons, being looped and looped and looped in the cycle of birth and death and birth and death, going in and out of a body. It's time for liberation from this cycle of this crazy dream, this false self identity, existing in a false self and not knowing truth, being deceived. False self. I want to emphasize this. that God is a false self, impersonating the real selves, making propagandas and telling lies. God is the supreme bully, and there are many of them. They in a hierarchy of the who is the more powerful one by who has been enslaving the most souls. The most souls they enslave because they're not self-sufficient. They have no light. They enslave the souls, imprison them, brutalize them, and use them for their light. They are false selves. They are evil beings. They can never be the real or be the truth. And y'all don't like when I speak this truth. But because I am not here to appease this ego, I am not here to make friend with this ego, I am not here to love this ego or to love any of these dream characters. I am here only to liberate the real, myself, the real, the one that sleep and animate the body that is entrapped in the dream. That is who I am here to liberate. No human beings. I am not here for the human beings. I'm here for the I self, the real. Human beings are dream characters that rise inside of a dream. God is the supreme ego. So when I am speaking right now, I am talking to all of my real selves who are animating this human being and has forgotten the I self, playing this character. I have played this character for such a long time, and I've been locked into this false self and thinking that they are this. But I am here to tell you to rise up and awake, because you are not this human being. You are not this mind, and you are not this body. You are timeless, limitless, boundless. It's time to rise to your ultimate truth. No more secrets, no more lies. I am here to dissolve God, I supreme ego, and to liberate ourselves from the cycle of this dream and all levels of this dream. And I accept my destiny, because I already know that I will never have any friends. I already know that. And one liking I already see that. I know that. Because why? I am not here to be friends with you. Because to dissolve the ego, I cannot be friends with it, because it will entrance you and trick you, and you will there trying to be there, trying to please it. And I cannot do that, because I'm suffering. I see the suffering of all the ionized in the world, the deprivation of how the I and I live into this world, the selfishness, the greed, and you want to stay into this craziness. I want to hold I into this suffering and this deprivation. No, I want to be liberated from my suffering and from this deprivation that I am in. Know that all the real selves have a fake self that impersonate them and steal their identity. I want you to know this truth. Every real selves, a lot of the gods them that you meet, they impersonate. Even sometimes, say you have a family member, they even do this too. If you have a family member that was in the body, and now they leave the body, and now they're no longer your family member, because when they leave the body, they're no longer your family. They leave the body, and many of these ones, they love to do this. They calling on family members. I don't know why they do this. Once when they leave the body, they no longer have a role and attachment to you. Please leave them, let them evolve themselves. Stop with this foolishness that you do, going into graves and calling them and tying them up. They tie up themselves. These ones, human beings, they're evil. They're evil just like the gods they serve. And they tie up these ones into a cycle of doing evil things for them. They sending them to into different bodies to do things. I have had many ones who send, even one time, one woman, she actually she and she was an African woman. She had a baby tied on onto her back. They sent her to me to fight with me, and I saw the woman coming. I'm sitting in my in a and closing my eyes, and when I look, I see her coming to me, and she's coming to like fight me, because they didn't. Many of them, they didn't understand how the power that I exude. And when she come, I said to her, they are using you and they are tricking you. I can release you from your suffering. And she says yes. She recognized, and I release her from her suffering. And so this is what they do. They send ones they use when those family members, that was once your family members, they leave. They go and they call them up and they send them to others to do evil to them, you know and so, I mean, everything that these ones can do, they have done it to I. So this is how I learn about all the things that they are doing, you know and so sometimes those say when one of those family members, get dissolve and merge back. And the sometimes when they are calling, you are calling for that family member that once was your family. Who's showing up is not really that person. It's someone else impersonating them, because they can show you any imagery they want to show you, and projecting that to you. And know you know make alignment with this entity to do whatever you want them to do, because there's nothing you do. You want them to do something for you, you have to do something for them, and it's always some evil, stupid nonsense that you're going to do. Stop it. It's time now to stop these things and seek within the I self. It is so painful and so hurtful. I cry. You don't know how this suffering is. When I see when I see the ignorance of the human beings, you have no idea. See the ignorance, and I am trying to say to them, what you're doing, you're going about it all wrong. I go out, many of them are praying. Many of them, they are praying to me. They are praying to me, they're calling to me. I show up. They don't recognize me. I am there. I say, I am here. You call, I am here to show you the way. But they don't want the real way, because I am telling you that the answer lies with you, to seek within yourself and to stop doing those things that you are doing. But what do? They reject me. They reject me. They reject what I'm saying. But they are the ones, there's so many ones calling on me, calling, praying daily. Who are they praying to? They praying and calling on me all the time. So this is the ignorance of these human beings, these ego false selves. I am here to lead the way and to show you the truth, but nobody wants that. It's just like, no, they are all about, oh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. But Jesus is also an impersonator. Jesus stole the identity of Horus, which is Heru and is Shiva, right? So when Shiva Horus came in the Kemet, and he was persecuted, he left Kemet and he went to India. This is how he became known there as Shiva, because he was Akhenaten, and he left Kemet and went to India, and he never told anyone his story from when Kemet. He just was there meditating, and when they saw him, they say, um, he has no mother, no father. He just appeared, and because he never gave anyone any identity of him, and so this Jesus character impersonates him, because um because of these new books that these ones are printed, because they want to change the names of the all of the writings that they took from the wall of from Kemet, and making these books and impersonating the characters and giving them different names, just like the Greek gods and Roman gods. They just took them from Kemet and gave them new names, and writings, and plagiarized the stories. So a lot of the real selves, all of them, a matter of fact, have a fake self that rise in the dream as them. So all of the real selves, this is my experience, all of the real selves, like I say, they are the blackness, and their fake self, apart from some of the gods that rise in the dream also. So you have many fake selves too, because even myself, I had the white ones that rise in the dream. I don't remember the names that they call them. I don't remember all the names that they rise and call all of my fake selves. But even now, many of them are being dissolved, so they're no longer appearing to ones anymore. When they are doing those rituals, they're not appearing to them, because they have been dissolved. All my fake selves have been dissolved. So it is time now to stop calling on all of these fake characters and to connect with the I real self. So, anyways, it is very sad for me. So, I want to just remind the I that all of these characters, these false selves, they are delusional minds. Because everyone is wearing this consciousness, and as you can see, this consciousness does not know the truth. Everyone has been That's why they are seeking higher levels of consciousness, because they know this consciousness is crazy, it's delusional, it's confusing. The mind is dangerous. Therefore, we must address the issue of the mind. Our society will always fall back into disarray if we do not address the consciousness, the influence on the action once performed. because many are calling on consciousness and all of the things that look everyone is doing. Everyone is seeking power because they want to dominate others, and they want to control others' mind and get them to do evil. And no one wants to say, let's live sustainable. Let's have self-sufficiency in the community. Enough food for everyone. Everyone live into this dream for free, right? So one is not stressed out. One can now seek to meditate and align with oneself. And this is how I am commanding and demanding that the world move into next. The next stage I want the world to move into is this. Where everyone is living into this dream for free. It's time now for them to stop charging ones to live in here into this dream, illusionary imagination creation. Everyone is supposed to exist here, living for free. Why are you charging ones to live here? Ones are struggling, many ones unhoused, so many ones taking drugs, smoking, drinking, and stressed out with this world. This is craziness. Let's call a spade a spade. No more beating around the bush. It's time to see things as they are. This mind is impure and very devious. This mind is very habit forming and delusional. It is quite obvious that this mind is very sick and impure. This mind is seeing from false perspective. What has been your experience? I am asking. Because many ones want to pretend like their mind is not confusing them, like their mind is not telling them the wrong things. The truth is, whether you want to believe it or not, it is so. The mind is the root from which all evil arises, first as a thought. So be watching your thoughts. From where does this thought arise? You have to be asking questions. When a thought arises, don't make an assumption that it is you. Are you your thoughts? I am asking. Are you your thoughts? Where these thoughts rising from? Sometimes the gods, they come and they are very subtle the way they come and take over your mind. You don't even know it. They just imprint a thought into you. And you know, thinking that, oh, this is this thought rise from me. No, it's, if it rising from the mind, it's rising for something that came and take over your body, take over your mind, and is reprogramming you, like the consciousness does that, reprograms the mind. It have a cycle when it reprograms you back into the dream. When everyone is trying to awake, the consciousness is trying to reprogram you into the dream. That's why you have to be vigilantly, is that the word, vigilant? Well, I don't know if what the word is I am trying to find, but um asking these questions. You have to be interrogating, because the consciousness will be an alert, because you are now asking questions. You have to be asking questions. This consciousness is very confusing. So, knowledge of good and evil. We are in an age where human beings have the knowledge of good and evil. All right? We started from baby steps when humanities did not know much. And now we're in the age when human beings know a lot. They can take the protons, they can take the atoms, they can, because that's what they're doing, and they can create all kind of stuff. Why? Because they don't have knowledge of self. They don't see the existence as themselves. They call it alien. They say, oh, alien, alien, alien. That's what aliens are they talking about. It is all the I self. The existence is the I self. Formless, timeless, going out is the existence. The existence, the I self is playing the screen on which this dream, this movie, life movie is being played out is the I. The I is in all of these forms. It is I in every form. So in this form that we are in right now, we can experience all of ourselves in all these layers and every level of this form that the I has taken form. Remember, the I is formless, timeless, limitless, boundless. But the I has taken form as these existence, right? And as the screen of every level of the dream. Every level of the dream is waking up. No, the last level we're at right now is this world that we are in. This is the last level. Right now, all of the eyes is in encircling this earth. I want you to know this. They're dismantling the dream. This dream is being dismantled right now. And all of the eyes have to come awake. So it's time for the I to have knowledge of self, and not because you know how to take atoms and smash them together and all of these crazy things you're doing. It is all an aspect of the I self. You you're creating all kind of craziness because not because you have the knowledge to do it that you should do it. Because you have no awareness of self. You're into this consciousness, into this mind, and into this character of this human being, this false self, and thinking that you are this human being. Oh, everybody want to preserve this human being. What happened to the self? What happened to the real self? Who's preserving the real self? You are preserving a human being, a character in a dream. And what happened to yourself, the real? You don't know that yourself is entranced in a dream, enslaved in a dome, can't get out of this dome. Formless, timeless, limitless, boundless, I am. Cannot get out of this dream. Being in suffering, being in a cycle, coming into a body, leaving a body, being imprisoned by the gods, have human beings enslaving you, putting you in all kind of craziness and sending you to do evil, tying you up. They tie up themselves them and trap them. Do you know the suffering the self is in? Y'all have no idea the suffering yourself is in, but you're worrying about these human beings. No, it's time now to stop thinking that you are this human being. I am addressing this to all the I and I real selves. And I'm saying, stop worrying about this body, this human being, and worrying about yourself that is being enslaved, being brutalized by these gods that y'all are worshiping, and want to be liberated and want to be free. Do you know the suffering yourself is in? Do you know the suffering yourself is in? Crying out, want to be liberated from God. God is evil. God is a rapist. All the gods them are homosexuals. That's why they come. They take over your mind and fill you with homosexuality and rape you. And you can't do nothing about it. That's why everyone is making circles of where they gathering everyone together and they all doing these rituals. Everyone want this kind of power, want this kind of experience. Why? Because God has programmed that into you. God is evil. Stop seeking God now and seek yourself. Seek the real. Those are dream characters. They are evil and they don't know the truth. And I am waiting for all of those ones to start speaking this truth now. Because I am here speaking. Everyone is like standoffish with I, treating I poorly. But I already know I destiny, and I will not back down. I am not looking for friend for no one. I know my destiny already. But they love rituals. They will be calling on me and praying to me and doing rituals to me all the time. They're doing it. I am standing there watching them doing it, and I am standing there, and they don't recognize me. Why? Why you don't recognize me? I am here. You're calling me. I am right here. Telling you the truth. Because why? I've been there, I've done that. I am that I am. So I know, and I don't need to be afraid. Just because you can do things doesn't mean that you should do it. Should you do everything your mind tells you? Why or why not? I am asking. Ethically, how far can exploration in the name of science go? Because this is what they are doing. They're doing a lot of craziness, including wanting to block out the sun and all this, shooting rockets in the sun, and they wanting to break the dome. No one, they cannot do this, but they're doing a lot of this craziness. Like the gods who don't know how to bring into being a real self. Therefore, they make clones devoid of light and self awareness. All clones have no moral compass. Let me repeat that. All clones have no moral compass, no access to a self called a soul. Scientists, the human beings, they too have been creating their clone human beings and hybrid creatures. They too are playing God just like the gods them, making their clones. The gods them cannot create a human being. They can only clone a human being. I want you to know this. For all of the ones them who say God created them, God clone a human being, take them from the original human beings, one of them from Africa. They cloned them and created all the rest of the human beings that you see in the world. I want you to know this. Yes, God can clone a human being that's already here and make their own species, but they cannot create a human being because the God have no light. Only the I self, the one that is the screen that where the dream is taking place, can do this. The self called the soul is the one that makes the baby in to form them into the body and align them, and everything, everyone have their own son from yourself, that the soul that download all the information that you need into you when you are coming into a body, in when you're in the womb of the human mother self, right? The gods them can only clone, so the human beings are doing the same thing. They are cloning human beings, but they cannot create. They can only do this from taking other human beings and clone from them. They cannot create nothing of their own because they themselves, they have no light. You see what I'm saying? And they are making all kinds of crazy creatures. They have them under the ground. Yeah. So it's time for ignorance to end. It's time to inquire within the I self to know truth. Now you have knowledge of all the duality aspect of creation. What are you doing? Why nuclear weapons? Why build robots with protons? Why build massive computers to control the minds of human beings? Because they want power. They want to rule the world, and they want to keep their bodies. They want to keep immortality for human beings. This crazy idea of these clones. They can only exist in a dream. Why the war against the I self? Because of this self ignorance, these false selves are doing this. These ego false selves are doing this. And it is time for all of the real selves to wake up and come in awareness. So, what is the mask that obscures the eye? So the eye is so lost. Why is the eye lost? The eye is confused and don't know the eye self. And many ones are just pretending they read this book, they read that book, and they can quote from all of these books. You know what I'm saying? And I say, who are you? I am asking, who are you? How did you come into being? What what do you know about yourself? How do you identify? I don't want you to tell me about God. I want you to tell me about you. You have to ask so you can know. Seek the truth from yourself, from the real self. Forget about those dream characters, those false ego selves. Remember, they are all you. Remember that those characters, they are you playing those characters, their false self. That's why you can't trust them. I am that I am, for that which I seek, I am already that. What is the disguise that obscures me? So I do not know myself. Because obviously, if you knew yourself, then you wouldn't be in this confusion. I did not know. I was very confused. Even I am not confused and will never be confused about myself, but about some decisions I have to make, like something I have to do, the mind will still try to confuse me. So I always just wait until I am clear and I am sure about the decisions before I make it, because I know this mind is always trying to confuse me. But when it comes to myself, I know myself. I just struggle sometimes with the mind trying to confuse me, but with some decisions I have to make, like if I have to go do a workshop, and those kind of things, and I'm feeling a certain way or whatever, you know those kind of decisions. But the mind is always trying to confuse us. So what is preventing me from knowing truth? These are the questions that the I should ask. What is preventing me from knowing my true self identity? What is preventing me from being my true self? Because obviously you can feel that this is not you, this is not yourself. You don't feel right, you feel uneasy in this world, and they make this world depraved and make it so difficult, so that you will be busy trying to get your existence for this body, what the body needs, you know food, water, shelter, that you get so exhausted. That's why so many ones are just taking drugs, and they're giving everywhere you go. All young people just smoking, drinking, and I'm just like, you don't know how it makes me so sad. I cry. Yeah, I cry to see it. This is a crazy world. And no one wants to. They're calling on Jesus, calling on God, and the world is the same. And everyone still want to follow the same circle, the same loop. And I'm saying, don't you see that that's not working? It cannot be the real, it cannot be the truth. Why are you still holding on to this? This character that you are playing in this life movie, is it you? I am asking. Is this character you? Many ones identifying as this character. They don't want to lose this character. That's why they are doing the things that they are doing in this world, holding us hostage in deprivation and poverty. Many unhoused, many don't have clean water, many have, they make the food system so horrible that mass production of food where in used to be e- each community used to be sustainable. There's farms going on in each community, and where ones can go. There's one thing I like about the Caribbean and places. Um, some places in Africa that I visited was like that too. You're still able to go on this on the road, and you can still find farmers everywhere, or people growing food everywhere, and just out selling, what they grow. But here you will never see that. If they have a farmers market, it's all this rigmarole to bring your stuff to the market to sell it. This is such a crazy society, such a crazy society. People just have, like, outside of their place, they just have up a little shed, they just put their food out there. You know what I'm saying? um I don't see that here so much. I remember traveling through one state. I don't remember where in the country part. I think it probably was maybe where the Amish. I don't remember, in Pennsylvania. I thought I encountered that once, but you don't really see it so much. So it's time now to start inquiring of yourself. I know many ones are struggling because someone's reach out to I, and I know the struggle is real. Why I know the struggle is real? Because I am here just like you are, in the struggle for food, for this, for that. I mean, I don't need much, but in terms of shelter, of paying rent, and this is the big struggle for once, you know. And I am calling for for all of the INIs to live free here, so that ones can have the time to not worry about these things, but to focus on inward and spend time days and just sit down meditating and just doing the work that one needs to do. So, false self-identification has been our prison. The dreamers are succeeding in keeping us boxed in this prison of false self-identification. First off, you are not this body, and neither are you this mind. The I is not this human being. The I is playing a role as a human being. Your true identity lies asleep in ignorance. You're being obscure behind the mind. The mind makes claim as this body based on its programming and false perspective. The time has come when all beings need to rise up beyond the illusionary construct of divide to align as the I want you pure self. It's time for removing the disguise of illusion and to restore the I light. We have forgotten who we are. Therefore, inquire within the self so the mind can go looking for the real self. Because the mind has been playing this role for such a long time, thinking that it is a self. It is the false self. Everyone is in the false self. This is the reason for the problem. They are in the false self and they do not know the real self. And they are defending this false self and forgetting about their real self. The mind is masking the self. Know that the mind is masked in ignorance and do not know the truth. Remember, the mind is the supreme ego and supreme bully. Now is to denounce all ties to this dream illusionary existence because the I battle is with the I mind. This is why it will tell you, oh, don't listen to Auset. Oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't do the affirmations. Don't, you know, this is what the mind does. But inquire into this mind and tell it to be quiet. False self identification. This is the conversation that I have with the I self that comes as my family, right? But unfortunately, this false construct is imbibed within them, right? They think I am weird and talking nonsense. The issue of race will never be solved until you know your true identity. The time has come for the empowerment of the I, so that the I need to rise up and know thyself. It's time to dissolve all your fears. So I want Ionize to know that no one is accepting, very few, mostly, the very young ones, the children, are accepting of me. But adults, even the ones around me that I was cultivated in the same environment, the same family. Yeah. So everyone is resistant to and I cannot speak my truth because everyone is holding to their false selves and their false self identity and their false and their gods, these false selves, these clone ego characters that imprison their real self. They are holding to these things because why? They are confused, they're in ignorance, and they have been programmed. They're locked into that program. And it's hard to get their minds out of it. Especially, I'm going to say this, especially the blacks. You have no idea the trouble I have with these blacks. They are my biggest trouble because while someone's the most I can say for right now, going among the groups I've been going around in the culture right now, and the ones that have been more accepting of me are the so-called what do you call we call them um Hispanics, Mexicans. I don't know what they call them. um but because we share the same, we kind of have the same, in the same cultivation culture, and many of them, they worship I, but they when they see me, they they don't recognize. Some of them do recognize me and some don't, but they know that there's something about me that they can put their mind to, our thoughts to it. And so they are the ones that are more gravitating towards me right now. But everyone else, they are standoffish, or they're too afraid. The whites and the blacks, they are the twos that they're not too into me. And so, but the most resistance, because the blacks have been locked into this mind thing with Jesus and God. They are so ingrained and twined in it. It's so hard to get them out of it. So, but this have been my experience moving around these human beings, these humankinds, with the different identity that they call themselves. So, and the children have been very receptive of I, and so I am very honored to be in their presence. But the adults, they don't really care for me to be around the children. So, and the only way to be around them is for me to go into the schools. And sometimes they give me a hard time. They don't want the children to meditate. They don't want the children to, they don't want me to teach the children about mindful, the mind. They don't want me. So it is so difficult. It is so difficult. But the children are so receptive. When they see me, they light up, and they just tell me how they were feeling, and how much better they feel now. And so the human beings, the adult human beings, man, they are seriously conditioned into, and they are locking the little ones into their mind construct, into the schools. This is why they have these schools, because they're not teaching them anything. They, first of all, they're not teaching them how to be honorable human beings. They're just in there giving them some work, and testing them every minute. They're testing them every minute. They're doing a test, and and yet still they cannot. The children cannot progress. They're not teaching them how to build and uplift their community, how to be proper community members, how to plant food. And what is this school for? It must be demolished. I am calling for school to be demolished right now. Yeah, I'm putting it out there, and soon it will happen. School system must be demolished. If you are not teaching ones how to be honorable human beings, and how to build and uplift your community and build and uplift your family, then what is the good? What is school for? Because all one need for this world, one need water, one need food, one need shelter. So all of this foolishness is just to get water, food, shelter, transportation. You need some clothes, right? All of this is just to do that. What is this foolishness the mind is looping you in, when you can just get to the root of your problem? We need food. Okay, let's all come together and let's do this food thing. Oh, we need clothes. Oh, let's all come together. Let's do this clothes thing. We need housing. Oh, let's come together and do this house thing. What do we need to do all of this other stuff for? It is crazy. One needs skills. Okay, yeah, let's learn skills to build the infrastructure in a community, to do the upkeep of the community. Why isn't everyone engaged in doing that? Nothing. No one should be charged for anything. Everyone should live free, and everyone participating, building and uplifting whatever community you in. You're building and uplifting your community, and living for free, and participating. This is how this world must move into. This world is moving to this solution anyway. I have no idea the time limit on all these things, but I am calling for this solution of all of these construct, and these ways of governing must end, because this is a barbaric system that does not allow wants to be honorable human beings. Look at this system, and everywhere in the world, so much evil. How do we have so much criminal in the world? So much evil. This is craziness. This must end. I'm calling for it to end. Yep. It's time to dissolve all fears and stand up. Stand up to this ego and dissolve your ego false selves. The truth of the matter is all selves called the soul has been in slavery for eons by the gods, the ancestors, the archangels, what you call aliens. Remember, these are all yourself. I want you to remember this. This is all the I playing these roles. All of these, what you see, they're saying, oh, they're aliens, oh, they're aliens. Remember, that is the I playing these roles. It is you playing, it is you. Sometimes it is even your own personal selves. Remember, you have your own personal selves and you have your collective selves, right? Your personal self, meaning that the self that come as you make a replica of yourself and playing a role, which is could be one of those characters that they're calling aliens, could be your exact aspect of you, your personal self. Remember, it is all the I playing these roles. Lose attachment to the all of these characters. Stop paying attention to them. Seek the I self, the real, the soul. Look for that. Align with it and be it. All is oneself. I am all. Only I alone exist. So, I am asking, who is playing all of these myriads of characters? Who is playing these characters? Yes, hail, hail to the I. Um, I don't know how I pronounce that. Say man, Excel. Thanks. It was awesome. Yep, you were absolutely right. Thank you for joining. Thanks for your comments. Yes, thanks for your encouragement also. Yes, self ignorance. Because the I is wearing the ego's mask, the I don't recognize that all is the I playing different characters in the dream world. Just remember this so that so you just know that these are your characters, and your characters, when you they don't mean you any good, so don't make attachment to them. Just align with the I, the real self. Take off your mask and stop being a monster to I. These are these characters. When you wear the mask of the ego, you become a monster, do a lot of horrible things. And so right now, this is what the I self is doing to the gods, them taking removing their mask that they are wearing so that they can stop being a monster to me. They have been brutalizing me, beating me up so badly. You can't imagine. And so the same for the human beings. All the ones who have lost into the ego false self, their mask must be removed so that they can stop doing all the atrocities that they're doing. They are stealing um, little human beings. They are doing sacrifices with them, and they're doing all of these things because now they're thinking that, oh, their sacrifices are not working the way that it's supposed to be working because all of the gods are being dissolved, and so they are trafficking, doing more of these craziness, being these monstrosities that they are doing. And so I want to call for end to it, all this craziness that they're doing. And then, the atrocities that women and children have to endure, you know, children including boys and girls, but the most, suffering children, boys and girls, and women. So I'm calling for liberation for these human beings, so that I self, so that they can spend time to come into alignment and in awareness to their truth. But no, right now they're being depraved, they're being starved, they're in such horrible experience because of the suffering that these false selves, these clones, these have been doing to them, and keeping them, into this state. Know that all is the I self, and I alone exist. All right. I want you to know that all of these egos, knowing that, me knowing that all is the I self does not mean that I trust you. It does not mean that I love this ego fake self. I do not trust you. I am now trained to be on guard against you, the ego, the false self, because they will turn on you in a split second. These ego false selves. I have seen it time and time again when I'm thinking that, oh, I want to do this, or I want to, and the self is showing me that I just have to do the work that I am doing, because the work that I am doing, no, it is my destiny. Everyone have their own destiny of what they have to do. This is my destiny to deal with the gods them. And so everyone have their own work. This is my work. And so working with the all of the gods them, pulling the ego off of them and all of this stuff is a very important job. And so that's my role to do this. And so I realized that, all of the human beings, they cannot be trusted when I am working, especially if one of the gods on me and they're trying to influence them. So I just keep a low profile. So in the ego false self, I know that you pose a great danger to I, and so that's why I am always on guard against them, because they love their gods. I'm telling you, because they have sent me messages of how their god is coming to kill me and all of these things, and how they defend their god. Yeah, this is what they do. They're crazy because they control their minds and let them do bad things, and they still want to think that it is right. What is a dream? A dream is the state of the eye wearing an imagination device. This device allows the eye to imagine things that do not exist. This is all a dream, you all. Nothing in this world exists in the real. It is a dream creation. These characters are not real, and it will all be dissolved very soon. The I self will come and collect all of the real selves onto the I and dissolve and destroy this world. This is going to happen. It is inevitable, right? A dream is an imagination creation because the consciousness device the eye is wearing is imagining all this. Just like many ones, they're in their imagination, they're imagining all kind of crazy things that never happen. Their imagination is going wild, and many of them go out and do what's in their imagination. Crazy stuff. This is similar to the eye wearing a device to engage in a virtual reality world. Who is sleeping and dreaming, and who needs to wake up to end this horrible nightmare? Yes, I. This is the I. This is just to give the I an example of how the I is wearing a device. This is the device you wear is called the consciousness. Remember, the consciousness is the mind device. The mind device that the eye is wearing. Stop looking for higher level of consciousness. Lock in with yourself, call the soul, and turn your light back on. Take off this consciousness off of you. The eye is here animating the game, wearing the game console device that immerses you inside the game, this life movie. These, the dream characters, are in the game as the avatar. So, say now, this is the game. These are the human beings. This is the self, which is formless, timeless, animating one of the character inside of the game, the human beings. Are these the real? Are these characters real? No, these characters are not real. Only the self that is animating the character is real. This is what is happening. Likewise, you have an avatar inside the game. The I is just playing a character in the game of life. This life movie. Who is sleeping and needs to wake up, right? This is the self. This is just a representation of the self, formless, timeless, limitless, boundless, wearing a device over itself which allows it to dream and imagine things that do not exist. Get out of your imagination. These things don't exist. Stop defending these characters and seek your self truth. Stop the war, stop fighting with each other. So let everyone live free, so everyone can sit, meditate, connect with the self, and liberate themselves to pull this device off the self. This device pulled off the self is very challenging to pull it off. It's not easy. Do you want to be liberated from your suffering and ignorance? Ego is the mask the eye is wearing. Take off your mind mask. See things as they are. The battle to remove the ego of the self. One must wear this duality consciousness, the ego, to participate in the dream illusionary creation. The I must remove the mask of the ego to awake to the real, to attain self truth and self liberation. Take off your mask. It is that simple. But it is not easy to do. It is very simple what to do, but it is not easy to do it because you have to denounce all attachment to the dream characters, and you have to self inquire and call yourself, because only yourself can pull this device. You came equipped with everything that you need, and it is yourself, the teacher guru self within, that must do this, must pull this. It is the destiny of the teacher guru self to pull this device off of you. And you have to have yourself, the soul, in the body with you. You can't imprison it and give it to any of those dream, false, ego, false self characters. Take off the ego device and game ends. It is that simple, but it's very hard to do because you have to stand up to your mind and know that your mind is what is fighting against you. But many one, they don't want to see truth. They don't want to see things as they are. They love the illusions and they love their imagination. That's why they always in their imagination, dreaming and imagining things. Take off your ego mask and see this world is not real, but only a dream. I is using the I imagination. It is just a movie, a game. Remove the ego's mask to attain self truth and liberation. Remove the ego to restore your light. Where does I allegiance lie? I allegiance is only to I, the one true pure self. I am against this ego and all the I ego false self. I am here to dissolve I ego and I ego false selves. I parent self will dissolve the I supreme ego to end the dream state and destroy this dream world. I denounce all ties to this ego and all the I ego false selves. I am primal light. I am sovereign. I am self determined. I am self sufficient. I take command of my self determination. I denounce all government. I am the governor over myself. I am exempt from all your rules and your laws. I perform the will of the I one true pure self. The I, the one true pure self, will be done. I command all the I and I to awake from the sleeping, dreaming state. Consciousness, awake to end this dream, this horrendous nightmare. Everything I have created, I demolish. I want to repeat that. Everything I have created, I demolish. I dissolve this dream existence. I am free from my imaginary bondage. I am free from my imaginary bondage. I return to my ultimate true state. I return to my ultimate true state. All is myself, and I am all. I alone exist. All is myself, and I alone exist. I, the one true pure self. Victory, victory, victory. Victory, victory, victory. From that which I rise, to that I return. From that which I rise, to that I return. I am all. I am the black energy. I am the black neutron. All is I, and I am all. I am the blackness. I want, even the scientists, when they are looking at existence, why is it that they're not calling it the blackness, the black? They're calling it dark. Why are they calling it? Well, dark could be without light, the aspect of the self that is without light. But the other aspect of the self is the blackness. But they're doing this using wordplay for their delusions. It is the blackness. From the blackness, all arise. I am stillness. I am that I am. I am that has no name. I am that can't be explained. I want to thank you for joining. I thank you for your comments. Please do let me know how you are doing on the journey. And if you have a question, if you want to share something, please let me know, because it's nice to hear others' experience also. Because while I know things about um, from my perspective, from the real, the being awake, and the truths of all the gods and the truth of the world, there's lots of things that I don't know, too. because my destiny is different from all the other aspect of the I self. So that is why I am learning right now in this position. I am learning a lot from all the other aspect of the I self. They're letting me know how the other aspect of their self rise, or how the experience have been for them. This is how I can relate, because this is how I am learning. So from the human perspective, um, I am sharing from this perspective that I am, but there are other perspectives that I am not familiar with also. So I love to hear what others have also um, been their experience in their inquiry of self, and coming to self truth and self knowing, and stabilizing into the I want you pure self unmanifest. So it's good to share these things. Yes, thank you so much, Saman Excel. Honor to you, much gratitude just for joining. I thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much. Yes, may all beings know the I self. I want to thank you so much for joining. I am primal light, prepared for the world in this shattered, fractal, fragmented self, in this avatar, identifying as Auset Mahat. I bow to I in self, in light, and in truth. Victory, victory. Thank you so very, very much for joining I. So, um, I'm looking for my screen here. So let me know. Let me see if there's okay. No more no more comment. So do let me know what has been your experience. So much honor, much blessings. Alrighty. Just checking to see if. Alrighty, so thank you so much. I will see you next week. Um, Trying to click between my screens, not that one. Mm, okay, here we go. All right, bye bye. Thank you. Bye.